right, everyone, welcome back to the long overdue hobby vlog video where I want to do an army showcase. I think this is something I should have probably started with, just to contextualize the army in terms of the hobby aspect, why I collected it, what do I have so far, how's it looking, what am I working on next, and just kind of talking through what really pulled me into painting and collecting Votann and going competitive with them as well for this season. So with that said, this is the current roster of painted units. You can see in the back there's a Sagittar, still a work in progress, but currently painted on this table. We have two squads of the infantry, the warriors, we have a squad of berserks, we have a Khal, we have an Ironeer champ, we have 5 Hearthguard, a Hecaton, 3 Brokir, a Sagittar, and 3 pioneers. This is everything that's painted, and there's a lot more that's still a work in progress. I had this really silly and ambitious goal in December. So I should say most of this was all painted in December. I had this really silly goal to try to paint 2,000 points in a Votann within 1 month. So by January 1st, I want to have 2,000 points ready to go. And this is all I was able to do. Besides one squad of warriors, these guys were already painted from a few months earlier when I just had the idea of testing out the paint scheme. So besides that, the rest is probably around 1,000 points, I'd say. So I only got to do half of my goal. And currently in my pile of opportunity, I'm sitting on the rest of my Defenders of the Ancestor box, which is that Sagittar in the back, and I got a Grimnir off to the side, and there's 5 more Hearthguard that I still haven't built yet. And then I got my second Defenders of the Ancestor box, which hasn't even been opened yet, but it will be used because I need everything that's in these boxes, or most of them anyway, to build my projected 2,000 point list, which might obviously change when the data slate comes out. So all of this will be completed in the coming months. I'm hoping that I could get 2,000 points ready by the end of January. That would be really nice, because then I have a fully painted army that I could take to play instead of just having gray on the table, which kind of just sucks in my opinion. It's always nice to try to have everything painted up. And they're a joy to paint, honestly, and I'm really happy with how they came out. I started actually with just the a squad of warriors. I had this lying around from the boarding action box. I think it's like the Kill Team one called Galwafall. I had these warriors. I wasn't planning on using them. I was thinking about selling them because I wasn't collecting Votann at the time. And the army for Votann, funny enough, when it was announced and was released, I really just wasn't that interested in getting them. I thought the models were cool, but I didn't really connect with anything. I didn't connect with the paint scheme of the army or the aesthetic that was being showcased by Games Workshop, and some of the things I was seeing online, it just didn't resound with me. So I didn't really start collecting them until one day I was painting up some Blood Angels, which is my other army I collect, and I came across the Dark Iron Dwarf Votann scheme on Instagram, and I was really blown away by that. I thought it was such a unique take, a grimdark iteration of what everyone else was doing, is really bright colors. Like the most predominant one you see is orange for the, I'm not sure what they're called, the Hyperion, I think. So the orange one for those guys, and I think the orange looks pretty cool. It's fine, but it didn't really connect with me. It didn't resonate. And when I saw the Dark Iron Dwarf paint scheme, I said, I gotta get this. I absolutely need to paint this up. This looks insane. And particularly for a couple units that really stood out. The Hearthguard, for instance. So with the Hearthguard, let me just bring one up to the camera here. With the Hearthguard, I found that the models looked a little bland. You can accent it a bit, but they're super blocky, and for the most part, they're monocolored. So when I saw that scheme and how you can really just get this really dark, gritty look and make it pop with some glow, I was sold. I thought it was really nice. So I was super impressed by that, and I really like how it came out on these Hearthguard, for example, here. So that was one of the main ones that pulled me when I saw a post of the Hearthguard unit. I think the other one that's worth calling out as well are the Berserks. So the Berserks, in my opinion, under the GW paint scheme, I think they don't look very nice. I think that it doesn't do them justice as models, but with the Dark Iron skin theme, oh, look at that. look at that beautiful, grim, dark aesthetic. It's just, it fits so much better, in my opinion, compared to having the, just like the bright colored, pale skinned guys running around shirtless. I wasn't too sold on them, and there's a lot of disdain for them as well from what I see on some of the subreddits for Votann and just Warhammer in general. That they're generally considered ugly models, and I agreed until I saw them in the Dark Iron scheme, and that's what's crazy to me. It's just one color scheme can completely change your opinion of a faction and how it looks. If you connect with that color scheme. And that's not to say that any other color schemes are bad at all. I actually think a few of them are beautiful. So I was torn between doing this and yellow. I think yellow is really nice if done well on Votann as well. But ultimately, I identified with this scheme a lot more because of its connection to Dark Iron Dwarves, which are a race in World of Warcraft, which is a game I play. So I thought that was really neat, that history, that ability to just connect with the army. And the other reason is that it's pretty fast to paint. I got through all this in a month when typically I get through maybe 2 squads of Blood Angels in that time. So just absolutely night and day difference for painting. And to be honest, I think they look much nicer than my Blood Angels as well. So half the effort to paint, well, not half the effort, I'd say half the time to paint. And I personally think they look much better. So I was really, really pulled in with that Dark Iron look, and I decided to grab my infantry squad from the Gallowdark box, play around with it, pick up the colors, and see if I could try to replicate that. And if I could, I'm all in. So I ended up painting up the squad, and I was pretty happy with how they came out. The glow effect was pretty sick, to be honest. It was a bit easier than I thought it'd be, and the battle plate looks really good in black, especially with that glow on the chest. I just really love it. And the other thing I want to say is, when I initially looked at this army, I was scared of painting faces because it's so hard to paint eyes. In my opinion, I just have a really difficult time doing faces and eyes justice. But with this scheme, it's just glow, and that's much easier. And they look nicer without helmets, which is crazy. So just leading to that personalization and characterization of your models, giving them this unique feel. Every single person here has a unique head, and it's crazy. They give you so many heads in the boxes. Look at this bag of extra bits. These are all the leftover heads I have, unique heads. So as I build this army out, I'm going to be grabbing heads from here, so no 2 people have the same head, even though they're clones in the lore. I just think it's cool to have all unique looks for your guys. You could really tell a nice story with that. So, and like an example of what I mean, obviously, with a nice story is, let's look at this dude over here. So, this dude, I saw this head and I said, wow, I don't think I'm going to put this head on anyone because it just really doesn't fit the serious tone I'm going for. And then I saw this power fist and I said, wait, imagine we had this badass guy just striding through the moon on his this base I made here, and like, what can we give him to really just make him look cool? Like, he owns the place. And I gave him this helmet, well, this head with the goggles, because I thought it was funny. I thought it just fit really nice. And I love that about this army. You could pick any single person up and they kind of just tell a story. It's really, really nice. I had a blast painting this up. I thought it was a really cool army to do. Like, look, here's the Thane of the warrior squad, right? Just yelling with the arms up, and this head is unique. This head is not used on anyone else. It's awesome. So that was a big reason. The ease of painting was really big. The colors were huge for me as well, and just connecting with the army. I really, really felt that this was a good fit, and I wanted to fully commit to painting this. So after I painted up the warrior squad, I ended up going for the Broker Thunderkin because these guys are badass, man. These are the coolest models I think Games Workshop has made in a long time. Just look at this dude. Oh my god. So these guys are amazing to paint. I thought they were really fun. and they look super cool, especially with the dark iron scheme theme. I think anyway, like grimdark, it looks nice. And I had a ton of fun building and painting these guys up. So that was my second purchase. Unfortunately, I've mentioned this in a few of my other videos. I don't think they're that great competitively, but I just had to pick them up. I think they're super cool and just like an essential piece to keep on the shelf for people to see. And if you ever play a game for fun, bring them. Like they're obviously super cool. And some competitive lists are making them work, but that wasn't the reason I took them. I just bought them because I think they're awesome. So then I decided to pick up Start Collecting box. That's where I got these Pioneers from. And I'll just bring one a little closer to the camera over here. So you can see I was a little scared to paint these at first. It was the first vehicles I tried doing in this game. But I could say, honestly, I think they came out pretty good. I'm happy with them. I kind of mentioned it in my other hobby video that I made, but I think the fact that there's this glow to accent the model, it just makes it work. Because if you didn't have that orange glow and you just had the black carapace or the armor of the bike, it'd be super bland. But that ability to quickly throw on this bright contrasting color and just bring the model to life is just, it's incredible. It's really fulfilling and fun to paint. And I think they look great on the table as well, which is cool. Because obviously we all suffer from imposter syndrome and feel like we suck at painting, but sometimes you look at it and you say, this actually came out pretty nice. I'm proud of it. So pretty happy with that. So with that second Start Collecting, I got to do another squad of the Warriors here. So I tried to kit them out similarly as I did with the first squad, but I also wanted to add the melee options because I think the melee weapons are kind of low-key better than the shooting guns that these guys could take. So I added some melee weapons. You see this guy has an axe, and this guy has the blade. But they also have their guns and the special weapons like you can see with this. And the reason for that is just easy for me to say count as in game. So I could say, hey, whoever is literally carrying a melee weapon has a melee weapon. Everyone else counts as having so-and-so. So just keep it simple like that. I think it's fine. For the Berserks, like I said, I really just... I regained love for the model. I think they look cool with the glow effect. I was pretty happy with that. And they just look really serious. You might have noticed actually the skin tones that I used vary from model to model. So I used 3 skin tones primarily. I took a blue, like a grayish blue. I took a purple. And then I went for this really rich blue color. So light gray, bluish, purple, and then blue. And so the blue is like really, I used it sparingly in the army. I think only 3 people have this blue. I wasn't too happy with how it came out. It's a little too dark for my liking, but then after I painted one, I said I gotta have a couple more. At least they're gonna stand out as just like one strangely colored person. So I ended up just making a couple more blue as well. I think the purple is really cool too. Let me try to find a purple guy that I painted. We'll use this one here. So pretty happy with that. And this is just for more variation. It's just to help bring the army to life when it's on the table and tell a story. Like this is a real living, well, it's not, but like in theory, it's like a real living community of dwarves. And they have varying shades of skin. They have varying shapes, varying hairstyles. And I think it's just really cool and it helps to tell that story. For the characters, so I got 2 characters currently painted up. The cowl, I ended up going with the gold helmet. So this is one of the only helmeted options I have here in my army, and it's gold. And so I kind of like to think of this guy as an AI cowl. So there's no actual living dwarf in here. It's just a robot AI, since they're really big on AI, obviously. And he's sort of there just helping to guide his kin on the battlefield. The next one is the Iron Champion. So this guy's pretty cool too. I wasn't too big on his stance. I thought it was a little weird. Well, my second one, I'm going to try reversing it and making it so that the person's walking up the hill instead. But I'm happy with how the paint scheme came out. I think it's nice. I tried to differentiate a little bit more from the Hearthguard, so I put some red accents here on the top of the shoulder pads and red as well for the hair. Last for my vehicles, Some of you might remember this from the first video, but it's finally painted up and done. The glows have been added, and I'm really happy with how it looks all together. I got, you could see that video for a little more detail behind the thought process, but I was concerned about not having enough of a pop because the dark kind of just overpowers it. But I was able to bring that out with some transfers like you can see there, and the lights for the gun and just general illumination here around the hatches and things like that. So I'm pretty happy with this. Same thing over here with the Sagittar. I talked about it in my last video, but I'm going to be adding transfers officially. I haven't done them yet because I'm not at that stage with the other Sagittar, but once it's there, I will be doing that. So yeah, guys, that's basically my army so far. It's about 1,000 points or so, give or take. The next thing I'm going to be working on is I'm going to do 5 more Hearthguard, finish up the Sagittar, and I really want to start doing the second Hecaton and another squad of bikes. I think that's basically the solid foundation for my list that I want to go for. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for tuning in. This is about 20 minutes now. I could ramble all day about these dwarves. I think they're really cool, as you can obviously tell. And I'm sure you guys are really passionate about your dwarves as well. That's why you're here. So honestly, I love the aesthetic. I think they're really cool. And people could do some really amazing things with the right colors on these guys. Personally, I'm a fan of the grimdark look. But if you guys are working on something that's different than this, I'd totally love to see that too. Just let me know in the comments what you're doing, what colors you picked. I'd love to engage in that discussion and just try to visualize and look up and see what that color might look like as a reference. So thanks so much for tuning in. And like I said in my 2024 announcement video, I'm going to try to be making hobby videos a little bit more frequently. But for now, to start the year off, this is the current army roster, and I look forward to updating you shortly once I complete the rest of it. All right, thanks so much, and I'll catch you all in the next one.